Welcome, everybody. It is April the 27th, 2020. This is Matthew Brownstein, and you are in right now live or watching this as a recording, the Monday night conscious community class with the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. And again, with me, the founder of that school and the lead instructor, Matthew Brownstein. Tonight's topic is a life mastery course. And I started these classes up again during this whole COVID time because I thought it could be very supportive for our attendees, our students, our graduates of the school, anybody else who just wants to attend. So past classes, we did Peace Under All Circumstances, which I posted my audiobook on YouTube. So feel free to go and check that out at no charge. We did past class on opening the heart and clearing emotional blocks. That's also on YouTube. And in the first class we did when we launched this again, the Bodhisattva vow, which is really just being of service to all beings, and interpersonal hypnotherapy, also being of service to all beings. So those are all on YouTube now. And of course, you're more than welcome to check those out. Tonight's topic, the Life Mastery course, felt appropriate during this time because I'm just going to jump right in and talk about it. Every year I do my own Life Mastery course again. And so I practice this for myself. I still practice it to this day. And it's something I've been doing since my early 20s. It evolved, but eventually it just became a really solid process that works. So quite often what I'll do with this is about 2 weeks, sometimes 3 or 4 weeks before, so in December, before the end of the year, I will start going into kind of a meditation retreat and really focusing on what I want for the next year. It's like, what I want 2020 to look like. I don't think 2020 looks anything like what most of us would want it to look like. And that makes the process even more apropos, because then we're saying, does this stuff work? Which is essentially, what is this stuff? It's really coming down to just using your mind to create the life that you want to live, actualizing success in every aspect of your life, or you might say living a fully self-actualized life. Now, my experience is that's never just a one-time thing where you just say, I got it, I'm done, I figured everything out. It's more of a process of becoming, of learning who you are, saying, what am I really wanting? And then learning how to manifest it. So when I was younger, just doing my private hypnotherapy practice and getting more financially secure, with hypnotherapy, your business tends to get a little bit slower during November and December. And then January, February, when the New Year's resolutions kick in, people start getting excited and you start getting more people in your office. So that would bring a little bit of fear for me back in the day about, oh no, money's starting to get a bit slower, right? So what do I do? So you can just sit around, right, getting kind of depressed about, and of course, the COVID situation now, you can sit around getting depressed, getting bummed out, worrying, right? Or you can realize there are processes like this that help you to get your mind where you want it to be, with the idea that thought creates form, that any idea you have in your mind held long enough, and especially an idea that is shared, becomes a reality. So in deep metaphysical teachings, it says all thought inevitably externalizes itself, right? And that's either true or not true, or maybe it's a half truth, right? So all thought inevitably externalizes itself. Excuse me, if you hold certain thoughts long enough, they become a reality. You will pull that into your reality. Again, true or not true, but maybe half true, right? Maybe some of your thoughts don't, but maybe some do. If you believe to any degree that your mind creates your reality, you want to help to create a better reality for you and others, then processes like this are great. So during challenging times when things are scary, to me, this is an empowering tool. And because it's so ideally, to keep you getting from fear and feeling empowered and confident to create the life you want. But the idea tonight I'd like to discuss with everybody is want, right? So what do you want? And is that the best way to plug things into this formula? Because this is a formula for pulling what you want into your reality. So we're going to hear the term want, but at the same time, when life isn't the way we want it to be, we may need to restructure what it means to live a harmonious life, a successful life, a fulfilling life. Right? So what we'll look at tonight with the Life Mastery course, I'll do some PowerPoint and I'll actually share with you the PDF workbook that comes with this entire system and teach you how you can get into it deeper if you want to. right? So knowing that you have the ability to consciously use your mind to create an awesome life, even if that life means you're staying at home a lot more, even if it means you have to restructure your income streams, even if it means certain projects or relationships or whatever put on hold, it's actually an amazing time to do this. I'm starting to see that this time, especially with quarantine or stay-at-home orders, as similar to the metaphor of the caterpillar crawling into the cocoon and then coming out as a butterfly. Right? So you can say, oh, this sucks. I don't want to be at home doing nothing. I've got all these, I got to make money. I have all these things I want to do with my life. Well, if you can't do it physically right now, and even if you can, because there's obviously some things you can do, this process is amazing for retreat times. Like I said, at the end of every year, I'll go into retreat, really focus on what I want the new year to be. And that can be very general, not necessarily just, I have this exact experience and this exact experience. Although it does get very specific, it just also works more general, right? I just want more peace for the new year. I want more joy for the new year. I want more financial security for the new year. You plug in these general ideas during times of retreat, and you even get more specific about, all right, what am I going to do? What do I want to happen? And then I'm going to say this will significantly increase the probability of those things appearing in your life. And what I've been saying with our students and whatnot during this time, that, you know, with hypnotherapy, we set a lot of goals. All right, we're a hypnotherapy school, we're a career education, hypnosis, and much more than just hypnosis. And that empowers you with really knowing how to set goals. So I hope a lot of you have set goals. And then you may think, wow, that didn't happen for 2020, at least not yet. The idea is there's no unrealistic goal, only an unrealistic time frame. Right? So if you said, well, it's just not happening for 2020 because of COVID, so all you do with goal setting is you keep the same goal, maybe adjust it if you need to, but you just change the date. Right? So you say, okay, it didn't happen by April 2020. I'll make it happen by April 2021. That's the general idea of this. It's not just goal setting, it's much bigger than that. And when we get into it, you know, the only way to really understand is to see it. I'm going to do a brief PowerPoint just in case anybody's totally new to the school and me, to catch you up with that. It'll take only a couple minutes, and then it'll start leading into some screen share with you as we go through the idea. Not necessarily every aspect empower you to do it on your own tonight, but a lot of really great ideas. I hope you'll take what you like, leave what you don't. Some things like, I'm not going to do that. Others like, wow, I should really start doing that again, or doing that. So if it inspires you to do one thing that's good tonight, that's awesome. And then if you want to go deeper into Life Mastery course, to do the entire thing, I'll show you how that goes. So let's take a moment for some screen share. So this is just our PowerPoint I've been using to orient everybody with the evening. Monday Night Conscious Community class. How do we scroll this ahead? There we go. These are our websites, just so you kind of know us. The main website is instituteofhypnotherapy.com for our school. The next class we were enrolling for in April. That's pretty well locked in. So next class is June 24th. We are enrolling. We are still doing classes. We're largely an online institution, so nothing's really slowed us down all that much. Just postponed classes or redid our schedule a little bit because of COVID, but all still good. Our student portal is the tfioh.com website, and our association website for the IAIH and conferences is interpersonalhypnotherapy.com. These are the Monday Night Conscious Community classes, specifically launched during challenging times, COVID times. And since I'm doing these on Zoom, we're able to get them up on YouTube. This is a little bit about me, and I'll talk about me tonight just a little bit to understand more what the Life Mastery course is. My background is in religion and philosophy, and I spent a lot of time living in different spiritual communities, about 5 total years of my life living in spiritual communities. They're not all listed here because some things I just don't share, but different monasteries, ashrams, and again, spiritual centers. I spent 2 years in 2 different Chinese medical schools, Chinese Medical College. So it's a big part of my background, but what really spoke to me and became my life calling was hypnotherapy, along with neuro-linguistic programming. So I opened Florida's first state licensed school. We've expanded around the country now for hypnotherapy training, and the International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists. I've also published 5 books in the fields of spiritual growth and healing and hypnotherapy. These are some of the topics that we often cover on the Monday night classes. Our main thing is interpersonal hypnotherapy, so I hope you will take some time to learn what does that really mean, because it's a very unique brand for us, and it's a very deep idea when we talk about interpersonal, meaning it's deeper than just medical or clinical or transpersonal, but we can't cover all that right now. All right, and then if you're new to the school, we do offer the first 4.5 hours of our training at no charge. You can find that on instituteofhypnotherapy.com. You can start anytime. That's actually the very beginning of our training. And most people who tend to do that tend to go into the school because it's honestly some really good stuff. We do record these past conscious community classes, and they're all available on that link that's on your screen at instituteofhypnotherapy.com. It's well over 400 hours of this type of material, and a lot of stuff in the Life Mastery course that was done in the past, which will be even more in depth perhaps than what we're doing tonight. Our school itself is 500 plus hours of training with locations in Orlando, Tampa, Hollywood, Florida, Crestline, and Santa Barbara, California, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Our conference we did have to postpone, unfortunately, because of COVID, so we're hoping to relaunch it again for October, but it's only postponed. We are definitely going to do that again someday, and in person, not online. It's just too valuable. Was it last week or a recent class? I did my Peace Under All Circumstances teachings and posted, not only that video is on YouTube, but the audiobook of Peace Under All Circumstances book is on YouTube now as well. And that's just a little slide about us. So tonight we're going to go into the Life Mastery course, not necessarily the Manifesting Prosperity course where we focus just on financial freedom, making a lot of really good money. So that is its own separate course, and I can show you where all that is in just a moment. In fact, on that notion, let's take just a sec. I'll open up a web browser and go to our website and just show you where these things live. Still getting used to Zoom. There we go. All right, so this is our main website, instituteofhypnotherapy.com, in the school's shop. This isn't really a plug for buying the product, but I do want you to know where it lives. So in the shop, we have the Creating and Manifesting formula. This is a 1-hour talk about what we're doing tonight, followed by 2 meditations that you can use to help manifest success in your life. This is part of the Life Mastery course that we're talking about tonight. But here's the Life Mastery course itself, which consists of the Getting Organized process and the Creating and Manifesting formula. So this is the more robust course that really covers a lot of what we'll talk about tonight, getting organized. And then here's the Manifesting Prosperity course. My experiences, these are very inexpensive. You can learn a lot of it tonight through the live class. And our students who go through our school's training, they get this as part of their curriculum, so there's no need to be purchasing it. But if you want the most thorough, succinct way to learn this, then these 2 courses are well worth it. Again, they're very inexpensive for the type of return that you can get on it. All right, but again, I don't want you to feel like I'm selling you anything, so let's go back and talk about the contents. All right, so Life Mastery course, how did all this stuff come about, first of all? It's not from any one source, and it's definitely not something else I adopted from someone else. What happened for me, a lot of you know this story, in 1992, I had a really profound spiritual awakening. So what seemed like a normal life, like a normal person, just the way anybody else would be, that all changed in 1 millisecond into an experience of all-pervading light and love and peace. And what was inherent in that was a feeling of oneness, where knowing that I'm still conscious, I still have mind, but I'm intimate with all that is. You can't do justice to these kind of mystical experiences in talking about them, but I realized there was an enormous amount of power inside of who I am and inside of who everyone is. At that time, I started looking into the books about using your mind to make your life better. This was before The Secret came out or any of that kind of stuff. So again, around 1992, my parents, who might be here, I don't know if they know this story. When my first experiments with this, I was visiting from college in my parents' house. It was Easter time, and I was sitting in the back of the car, and my parents had gone into, I think at the time it was like Ecker Drugs or something, CVS or whatnot, and those little marshmallow peeps, those little sugar-coated bunnies or whatever. I said, all right, if this stuff works, if I could use my mind to get what I want out of life, I'm going to have my mother bring me 2 boxes of marshmallow peeps. And when she opens a car door, there'll be these 2 boxes in a bag with nothing else in that bag. There'll be 1 yellow, I forget the colors. I think it was like 1 yellow and 1 orange. And when she opens the door, I'll just say, do you have my peeps? And she'll say, yeah, sure. And she'll hand me a bag with 2 boxes of peeps. I'm like, all right, well, that would be a good test to see if this stuff actually works. So I go into my meditation and I do that. And I just expect, the best I understand how the mind works. Of course, I didn't ask for this. There's no reason why this would happen. That when the car door opens, I would say, do you have my peeps? Sure enough, 5 minutes later, whatever, the car door opens, I just say, do you have my peeps? She hands me a bag with 2 boxes, just as I wanted. And I'm like, wow, that works. That really worked. That was amazing. So I'm sitting there eating my peeps while we're driving. My dad looks in the rearview mirror. He goes, you're the picture of happiness. I'm like, yeah, what made you think of buying me peeps? And my mother's like, I don't know, I was just walking down the aisle, just thought you might like them. And I said, well, why didn't you get like an orange and a yellow? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, there's like 2 yellow in the box or whatever, in the bag. She said, oh, they don't make orange. So when I tell this story, I like to say that I believe if I kept going with the formula, eventually Cadbury Company would make the color peeps that I wanted. So it was like a first glimpse of maybe, just maybe, my mind can manifest realities outside of my actions. And this doesn't mean that this process doesn't motivate really powerful action, because it does. It just says that maybe, just maybe, time and space are illusions. Maybe minds are joined, and just maybe, we have a lot of influence over the physical world more than we think. In a past class, Monday night class, we talked about something called, in yogic philosophy, Purush and Prakriti. Purush is the underlying energy of all that is. It's the underlying, better word, not energy, consciousness. Purush is the underlying consciousness of all that is. And in yogic philosophy, you are Purush. You are spirit, you are consciousness. There's another energy we talked about called Prakriti. Prakriti is the energy that manifests into all things, and everything you see is Prakriti. So you are conscious, and you're observing energy manifested into form. The deep yogic teachings say that Prakriti, the energy of all that is in the service of Purush, the conscious observer, which is you. So not using the Sanskrit words, essentially what we're saying is all the energy in the universe is under your command. Right? So it either is or it's not, or it is to a degree. Now, when people start the hypnotherapy school training with us, I usually say there are 2 polarities. One is I'm a total victim. Everything that happens in my life happens to me. I have no say over it whatsoever, right? Total victim. And the other extreme is I manifest everything in my life. I'm 100% responsible for everything that I see and experience. I'm doing it all, 100% responsibility or 0% responsibility. And I say most people fall somewhere on that spectrum, right? Like, yeah, my mind influences my reality, but only 25%. The rest is not up to me, right? So how much of it is up to you, to me, doesn't really matter. What matters is, do you believe that your mind influences and creates realities? Now, if you study quantum physics, back in the day, there's a whole idea in physics that things were solid and that they were just particles. And then as they got further into understanding what's going on the quantum subatomic level, they said, it's not just particles, it's also waves. That these subatomic particles, depending on how you look at them, depending on the observer, could be a particle or a wave. But now you don't hear even so much about that as much as what you're observing, meaning what everything is made of, is a probability, right? Not a certainty. Not if you look for an atom or an electron, it'll always be there. What they realize is you look and you influence the experiment, and what you are seeing is just a probability. I don't know any other better word to say it. It's not my field, quantum physics, but I hope enough of you guys have learned enough about the very basics of quantum physics, quantum mechanics to understand they're also saying this in the scientific realm. And I believe they're getting closer and closer. Their experiments have been done that prove that what we're talking about is true. Let me tell you another story. that's very interesting. My parents might know this one as well. My sister, I've been doing this stuff for years, and my sister at the time wanted to get pregnant, and her husband, they've been trying for 2 years, all the IVF stuff, nothing was working. And she said, well, maybe weird Matthew, can help. And she called me and confided in me about their challenge. And I said, I'll get you pregnant. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, no, it's just like, you give me 2 months. We'll plug this into the creating manifesting formula. I'll help you to resolve any mental blocks you have. And I promise you within 2 months, you'll be pregnant with your child. I wanted 2 months just because of ovulation cycles. Most of the time, when I do that as a gift for people, it's usually 2 weeks. And I'll tell you another story about that. So sure enough, within 2 months, she's pregnant after 2 years of trying everything else. And then I have 2 beautiful nieces to this day. And, someday I'll say to them, like, I helped you to get here. So I have hundreds of these stories. I'm sure a lot of you have your own. I'm going to just tell you one other just to talk to you about how I've experienced the mind can work. And because it actually just happened again recently. About however many years ago, but it's quite a while, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was living in this farm. It was in like upstate New York. And there were all sorts of animals, and there were dogs. I was renting a room up there, back in the day when I was younger. And the dogs were barking when I was meditating at night. And, as an advanced meditator, it's fine if dogs are barking. But I was so deep, I said, all right, maybe, just maybe, I can get the dogs to stop barking just using the power of my mind. They won't see me or hear me or anything. So I said, all right, let's see if that can work. When I snap my fingers, the dogs will absolutely stop barking at that moment. So I go into, meridian meditation, which is so important to this discussion tonight. I say, all right, when I snap my fingers, which they can't hear the snap, I'm inside, they're outside, there's a whole bunch of dogs. Then when I snap my fingers, they'll all be instantly silent. I go, snap, instant dead silence. I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I'm just meditating, kind of let it go. And then they start barking again. And thought about it, I'm like, oh, I didn't say they had to stop barking for the whole night. I just said stop barking. So I said, all right, when I snap my fingers again, I'll stop barking for the whole night. So I go back into that state, and we'll talk about like, how do you align your mind to make things happen like this? Snap my fingers, bam, instant silence. And I'm like, all right, that's really cool. I mean, I know this, I believe this, but there it was. And then I started having the thought, I'm so powerful. Everybody is, right? It's just here I'm experimenting on myself. I'm so powerful, I could probably make it rain. And then my line of thinking was, no, you probably shouldn't make it rain, because then, water, you couldn't control that. Water could start pouring from the ceiling. It could flood the whole house. I swear to God, the moment I had that thought in deep meditation, the hot water, I could see the kitchen from where I was sitting in meditation. The hot water tap burst off the sink, which I've never seen before or after. The hot water tap burst off, water shot up onto the ceiling and started trickling down like rain all over the floor. I go and I shut it off. I call the landlord, and I was like, the sink just blew up. She's like, what do you mean? And I told her. I didn't say what I did. I just said, it was just nothing. Like, she said, what did you do? Hot water taps don't just burst off of sinks. You had to have done something. I'm like, I swear to God, I didn't touch it, which is true. So I'm telling you that story because just a few nights ago, I was in meditation. And where I live up here in the mountains in California, people have dogs, and they were barking. I'm like, you know what? I haven't done that in a long time. Just for fun, just to see if I can still do it. And because I think I knew this class was coming up, let me see if that'll work again. All right, so again, deep meditation, aligning the mind the way I want it to, that needs to be, and then snap, dead silence. But I knew this time, say they're going to be quiet for the whole night. I did, and that was it. Doesn't mean they don't have free will. They can't start barking again. But I've just proven to myself over and over. And here's one more story for those of you who are hypnotherapists. Back in the day when I had my full-time practice, I had a friend who was visiting, and we were sipping tea out on the back patio one morning. And I said, I need 2 more clients. So I'm going to go into meditation. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to go into meditation, and within today, I will book 2 new clients. One is going to call now while we're sitting in the patio. One will call later in the day. And, so watch, I'm going to make the phone ring, basically. And then I just go into the meditative state, align my mind the way we do with this. And sure enough, while my eyes are closed, within those 5 minutes, the phone rings. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, no, that's how it works. And I answer the phone, but it was just a phone solicitor, someone trying to sell me something. And I was like, no, thank you anyway. closed my eye and I reflected on it, and I said, oh, I didn't actually say, I just made the phone ring. I didn't actually make the phone ring, and it was going to be a client. So I go back into the meditative state, again, focus my mind the way I want it to go. Sure enough, while my eyes are closed, within those 5 minutes, the phone rings. It's a client. I booked the client. And then, he was like, wow. I'm like, oh, no, that's how it works. I said, watch, and I'll book one more client today. The phone will ring, and it'll be another client, but that's it, just one more for the day. And sure enough, later that day, it's exactly what happened. If I told you all the stories about this, we'd fill the whole 2-hour or whatever class tonight. So we're not going to do that yet. I hope I'm inspiring you to realize you have your own stories about this. I'm probably preaching to the choir for a lot of you, yet a lot of you may not have done what we're going to look at tonight, the aspect of the Life Mastery course called the Getting Organized process that helps to align your mind so you map out the way you want your life to be, right? Because if you are influencing the energy of the universe, right, Purush, which is you as spirit, controls Prakriti, or we could say Prakriti is in the service of Purush, right? The energy of the universe is here for you, right? It's your world. You can make anything of it. Here's a line from Conversations with God with Neil Donald Walsh. He said, the higher wisdom voice that they call God there says, if all of you collectively decided that you are done with sickness and you don't want it anymore, it wouldn't be in your planet. If all of you collectively decided you're done with hunger and poverty, it wouldn't be here anymore. But because a lot of you still want it, it's still here. What we can look at tonight with the time we have is why those of us who appear to be sane could actually be manifesting some really uncomfortable realities or not getting what we want. I'm not here to talk tonight about using this formula for why, or this understanding for why we have COVID or how to get rid of COVID. Maybe it's another class. This is just about helping you to create a great life regardless of external circumstances. But the idea that we do have things in our life that we don't want, but really, if you dive deep enough into the psyche, you find out actually in some level you might really want those things. When we look at the creating and manifesting formula, we have 12 steps, which is what I was talking about, that I align my mind with to ensure something is going to manifest. And I know when those 12 steps align, that thing or that person, whatever it is, that experience will be in my reality. It's so solid when that just all aligns and clicks. Yeah, what I find for people who aren't necessarily having what they want out of their life, though that formula isn't aligned. They're either in conflict with themselves about something, like part of them wants it, part of it doesn't, part of them is afraid, they're not willing to accept the consequences of it, the responsibility of what they're manifesting. They don't really believe it's possible. So we can look at that whole formula tonight with as much time as we can give it, and maybe help you to see if something isn't manifesting in your life, what are you doing mentally? And we're going to say mentally, although, internal is a complex being, but pretty much it's your mind that isn't necessarily allowing something to appear. And again, if there are forces bigger than you, like acts of God, hurricanes, viruses, whatever, then, we're on this planet that has that stuff. So we adapt. Yet to me, these are tools. In Sanskrit, the word is upaya, meaning skillful means. They're skillful means to help you or to help you in any team. I use this for corporations. I've been brought in many times as a business consultant for a billionaire, for multimillionaires, using this process to actually help them to succeed. I've helped many businesses start and succeed using this, and a lot of our graduates use the formula. So again, I hope you really benefit from it tonight. All right, that's going to be our overall intro. Let's do some screen share. And I'll show you an overview of the actual workbook. So students in our school, you go to the first page here. Silent Publishers is my small publishing company. We publish some of our graduates' books, as well as my products. So the Life Mastery course consists of the Getting Organized process and the Creating and Manifesting process. Again, this is available directly on our website with all the audio recordings to explain how to do it. And this PDF document that I'm sharing with you here. And it's part of our school's curriculum, so our current students wouldn't need to purchase this. And hopefully tonight I'll give you a bunch of insight. Here's the table of contents, and we can look at the Getting Organized process first. It consists of 10 major categories, and then a lot of others. So each of these, a lot of others, meaning depending on how much you want to populate this thing. But it's the first 10 that really are the key to organizing your mind on paper or on usually like a PowerPoint presentation this day and age to help to increase success in your life. So here you actually see in the top, a pointer, I don't know how this works. It says introduction, how to use this workbook and CD set. This was back in the day of CDs. Now the recordings are available as MP3 downloads. And the 1 hour introduction in this set is how to do the getting organized process. It starts, and we'll look at this tonight. I'll show you mine, at least the way they were. Not much has changed as far as the core basic stuff, but this workbook actually has my personal stuff in it from back in the day. So the core mission statement, let me just say as we look at each of these, if you were writing these out on a piece of paper, you would either have a 3-ring binder with like loose leaf paper in there and tab dividers, so you could have each one of these numbers as its own section in your binder. And then the core mission statement would be number 1. The second page, like principles, would be number 2, etc. Or I like doing this. I used to really like doing it on paper, having it in a physical binder. I would look at it every single day. I'd refine it every day. It'd become a meditation I would do every day. Again, I would really get into it at the end of the year to start the new year. Or I think it's a great idea for anybody who's interested now during all these stay-at-home orders. If you don't have as much to do a process like this, or do this exact process. Or again, take what you like, leave what you don't. So when I started this, computers really weren't much of a thing, and none of us were as plugged in. This was about 25 years ago that I started really getting into this. So I really prefer doing it on paper. But now that those of us, we're also plugged into screens, if you do this on a PowerPoint presentation, it can work really well. The idea, though, is you must look at it every day. If you do it once and put it away, you're not filling your mind with these ideas. You'll notice that everything here kind of works backwards, and it starts from the bigger principles down to the smaller. So we have the core mission statement, which is the most important aspect of who you are. And then it's going to filter down through your life principles, also known as your values, through universal laws. We'll talk about those tonight. Then number 4 is one of the most important components of this, the life categories prioritized section, and then subcategorized. We'll look at that, and it's an exercise that I'll hopefully encourage you to do tonight if you haven't already, because it helps you to look at every aspect of your life and to start setting goals for success in every aspect of your life. Right? So it's not just that you make a lot of money or you get a nice relationship. It's every aspect of your life can be as successful as you can possibly make it. And then you'll see it has a long-term, mid-range, and short-term vision going in that direction. So again, that's working backwards. We start with the bigger vision and we chunk down. We start saying, well, what do I need to do tomorrow? But what you need to do tomorrow to reach your goals, I use the example, and I actually said this in an email to somebody, a student recently, that if you're drowning in an ocean, right? If life is not pleasant for you right now, right? If you lost your job, if you're a hypnotherapist, you can't see clients, if bills are due, you don't have much money, and there's all sorts of other problems going on this day and age. If you feel like you're drowning right now, just going to the next most comfortable place doesn't necessarily get you anywhere. But if you're drowning and you see a lighthouse on the shore, you put both eyes on the lighthouse. You keep moving towards that no matter what. There might be certain deviations along the way to survive. But in the end, you know your long-term vision. You're working towards it. And then the mid-range vision just supports the long-term. The short-term supports the mid-term, the mid-range. And then our to-do list is actually writing down every day what you're going to do to make things in the short-term vision happen. But those are always moving you towards a bigger vision. Then to keep you really disciplined on that, it goes into a day timer. So you're looking at a calendar that's holding you accountable. And really, you're holding you accountable. So if I put something into this formula, it becomes a reality. And again, if it doesn't, I have to reevaluate the goal or the time frame for the goal. Then number 10 is the collage, or a lot of people now know about the dream board or vision board. But I've seen people do the vision board without being this methodical about what they want, right? They'll just put lots of pictures of $100 bills and then wonder why they're not wealthy. People who really make a lot of money, they don't just visualize $100 bills, right? There's really good secrets to success, to wealth building, that you want to plug into formulas like this. So the collage is a great idea, and it gets the visuals in your mind, yet there's more to that. And additional categories, number 11, might be to have your budget in here, or plan to get out of debt, or to focus on other things like the home, like if you have a home project, then one of those categories could be that. Or if you're into automobiles, you want a new car, you want to soup up a new car or whatever, you can make that a section. But really those life categories that we'll look at are the things you focus on. So we'll come back to that in a moment. And then just for the overview of the whole process, introduction to creating and manifesting. These are the 12 steps that when your mind is aligned with, whatever you're focusing on to pull into reality tends to appear. And again, the word is probability. It significantly increases the probability of you manifesting what you want there. So let's just look at that briefly. Clarity of intent, you have to know what you want or what you're going to plug into this formula. These steps, 1 to 11 up above, the getting organized process, that gives you clarity of intent for every category of your life. You say, all right, I'm going to, so let me give you an example of those. We can jump ahead and just look at them. And then we'll come back to that. So you can see it's a pretty thorough workbook here. We're going to jump right ahead to, this is generally the way I structure my priorities. My spirituality is the highest priority. And I always think whenever I do this with people, I tend to encourage them to make it in this order, but it's totally up to you, especially if you're doing this on your own. So your spiritual well-being, what that means to you. And again, we can talk about that more, your mental, emotional health, and your physical health. What we're looking at here with the first 3 categories is you, right? You being your highest priority. Not to put your children or your spouse or anybody else before you, because you can't help anybody if you're not in a good space. So the teaching is to prioritize you, to put yourself first. I know it sounds selfish and most people aren't programmed that way, but that's kind of why we need a process like this, right? Help you to be successful as you, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically healthy, and then your career and finances, so that you are making the kind of money you want to make, and you can provide for your family and your retirement, and you can have a really fulfilling life. That's what a lot of people want. But again, you've got to get your head, heart, mind, body in the right place to really be able to do that. So career finances becomes number 4. Relationships actually infuse every category. And generally, I just say loving and harmonious relationships, whatever they are, however they are, whatever kind of relationship, it just has to be loving and harmonious. But anyway, you can focus on that when it comes to your significant other, your family and your friends, manifesting success in your relationships, your free time and recreation. And, as you evolve with your life or maybe develop more income streams, and I want to talk about that tonight a bit. During COVID times, you can utilize this formula to manifest anything. It doesn't have to be the limited thinking you may have had before COVID. Right now you might say, I'm going to create 7 lucrative online income streams that cannot dry out even if there's a virus. Right? That one idea, I'll say it again, that one idea plugged into a formula like this could set you up financially for the rest of your life. And the idea again is, I'm going to create 7 lucrative online income streams that cannot dry out even during a global pandemic, right? So some people are making a lot of money right now. Others are struggling terribly. My suggestion is utilize this kind of formula to manifest career and financial success, but don't be attached that it had to look like it needed to be CV before COVID. So before, you may have had certain ideas, but present knowledge supersedes prior commitment. What you know now is not what you knew then. And so commitments might change, goals might change, but the formula for manifesting them, at least as far as I'm concerned, doesn't change. So relationships, free time, recreation, again, as you get more successful, number 6 might go higher up there, but never above numbers 1, 2, and 3. It's just you might spend more time doing what you love instead of actually having to focus on career and finances. Number 7, education. For a lot of you who are in our school, that might be higher up, or if that's just important to you. If not, it's just continuing education, which is still important. And then manifesting success with your house, right? If you don't own your own home that you love and you want to, then you want to use this formula and make that happen. Volunteer work, and then travel and vacation. And again, that might go much higher up on the list depending on the stage of your stage of life. So we can come back to that. I just still a bit in the overview phase. We're going to go back to the list of introduction to creating and manifesting. So number 1, clarity of intent. We just started looking at the getting organized process, which is how to pull the things that you want into your reality. To get clear in your mind, to put it down on paper or in a PowerPoint, and then to be able to plug it into this formula. We'll look at some of the universal laws tonight. I've outlined 21 of them in the Getting Organized Process workbook. And usually I just pull from 7 major ones. When you align your mind with universal law, you are so much more powerful to manifest anything you want into your life. Number 3, deep meditation. To me, this is crucial. If you don't know how to go into deep meditation, if you don't know how to create your life from that space, you're missing out on an incredible power, a huge resource. And my experience is when I'm in deep meditation, I can manifest pretty much anything. When I am not, I just know I'm not as powerful. I'm going to go back. Well, let's finish that. I'm going to tell you 2 stories. When you're in deep meditation, we visualize what we want, and there's ways to do that can be more effective than other ways. We put powerful, positive emotion to the imagery, and we ensure that the emotion is positive. Right? You don't want to visualize something and be all scared while doing this formula, because then you're just putting fear into your future. We use the power of suggestion. So number 4, 5, and 6, you see it, you feel it, and you think it. You get all aspects of your being involved. And then the second half of the formula, number 7 onwards, belief. If you don't believe it's possible to manifest whatever you're plugging into this formula, one specific thing, or again, your entire life, then you sabotage what you want. And the formula, when you're doing this as a meditation, will help to convince you, yes, I believe it's possible. Yes, I believe it's possible. Of course it's possible. Desire, you do have to really want it, not wanting from a sense of lack. But if I was like, would you like, if I just hand you $10,000, yeah, I want that, right? You don't have any resistance to it. You're willing to accept a gift. That's kind of what desire means. It's not desire coming from lack. It's desire coming from, sure, why not? It's a great thing. Why not have it in my life? Number 9, acceptance. When you manifest something, there's a responsibility that goes with it, right? So if you're going to manifest a new job, a new family member, right, the new child, you say you want to be a certain body weight, there's a certain responsibility with manifesting something. And sometimes we'll sabotage ourselves by not being willing to accept it. Like my sister wanting to have a child. I think this was the one where she was having an issue where she wasn't willing to accept her and her husband the financial responsibility of the child. Once we got them over that hump, she was able to say, yeah, I'm fully willing to accept this and all the responsibility that goes with it. And that was, I believe, the real thing that shifted in her mind that allowed it to manifest. Number 10, expectation. When you totally expect something to manifest, you know it's going to happen. You're positive that what you plug into this formula is going to manifest. Basically, it just does. But you have to get your mind in that place of just knowing it's going to appear. Number 11, commitment is doing what you need to do to succeed. So in the early days when I was doing this, I would put things into the formula, but they wouldn't necessarily always appear. And what I realized after a lot of reflection was I wasn't necessarily walking the talk. I was visualizing it. I was affirming it. I was doing everything mentally, but I wasn't necessarily taking action. And it's really important, right? Like I said, people who have been really successful in this world didn't necessarily do it just their visualization, right? They did hard work. They showed up every day. They put their whole heart into their career, whatever they want to succeed in. And that's what number 11 is all about. You might call it, I had a client, she called that, she goes, oh, that's the principle of sincerity. Like if you sincerely want something, you're going to work to make it happen. So that was important to start affirming. And then step 12 is the surrendering and letting go of that which you're putting into the formula, because attachment to the outcome actually gets in the way. But just sending it off, letting it go, you find these things appear. So I can take, and we can do this tonight, I can take anybody through this meditation. A short version of it takes about 7 minutes. The longer version takes about 14. And in the Life Mastery course, the entire, let's just call it the download, the workbook set itself with the audios, there again, MP3, not CD. The CD number 3, those recordings are 2 sessions. One is a 17-minute version and one's a 14-minute version. Again, you plug what you want into the formula and you significantly increase the probability of it appearing. There's also a subliminal set of recordings. So when you listen to that music, your subconscious is being programmed with all these principles that seems to be about 30% effective from what studies have shown. And then again, there's these 2, CD 1 and 2, explaining the whole getting organized process for about an hour and explaining the creating manifesting process for about an hour. I'm going to stop sharing just to change the screen dynamic. I'm going to sit up a little there. Good. And let me see if I can remember the 2 stories I was going to tell you. Like I said, usually when I plug stuff into this formula, it takes about 2 weeks to get it to appear. So I had some friends that were trying to sell a property. It was a nice business, big piece of land, and nobody was buying and been on the market for years. I said, okay, I really love you guys. I want to help. So we're going to sit down and meditate together. Within 2 weeks, you'll have sold this property. And I take them through the creating manifesting formula with myself included, so that my mind is part of the equation. And then sure enough, within 2 weeks, I sold the property for like $2 million or something. So not the most elegant way of telling that story, but that's one that popped in my mind. Here's another really fun one. I had a student way back in the day, about 20 years ago, whose son wasn't going to graduate high school. And I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get everybody together to meditate, and we're going to go through the process, and your son is going to absolutely graduate high school. And we brought the boy in as well. And they're like, no way, it can't happen. He's got like D's and F's. There's no way he's going to graduate. He's going to have to repeat the whole senior year. So I knew he wasn't going to believe in all this stuff. So I brought in a whole bunch. We had like, maybe 8 people there doing the meditation with me. We sent it out there the way we do, doing this formula. And I said, all right, Rob was his name. I forget how long, maybe it was like a week, but you come back to me and you tell me what happened when you go to school tomorrow. So in a very short period of time, I think within a couple of days, he comes back to me. He said, Matthew, I went into school, and while I'm just walking down the hall, my teachers are coming up to me saying, hey, kid, just do this extra credit. We're going to get you to graduate. And sure enough, without him really doing anything, he ended up graduating high school. So that's like one example of how, or many examples I've given you tonight of how you can use this. But again, when we talk about the Life Mastery course, it's not that you're doing it just for specific things. You're doing it by setting up your entire life to be as ideal and as wonderful as possible. And again, if it's not, to honor that these principles work and just to keep pushing ahead. All right, so I don't want to screen share too much, but perhaps the best way to do it is to go back to the document and start moving it through the process. So when you have this workbook, again, as a student, you have it in our school, or you can order it on our website. It encourages you how to set this up. You can get a nice 3-ring binder, about 15 tab dividers, those plastic sheet protectors, resume or really nice paper, and loose leaf paper while you're in the process of putting it together. Or you can just do it in PowerPoint or anything else. The point is to be able to see it and work it every day, not just do it once and then forget about it. It's a very ongoing process if you're really serious about success in all aspects of your life. And especially right now, again, if you're afraid, if COVID-19 is messing with your life, you're stuck at home, go through this process. You'll be so glad that you did it. It eliminates a lot of fear. It really empowers you to be able to succeed and to know that you can succeed. All right, so that's an introduction in there about how to utilize the process. And then specifically, there's audio recordings that teach you. Let's look at the core mission statement and start to work through a bunch of this. I hope when I'm showing you mine, you'll think about your own. And then before we close the class, I'll take you on a meditation where you'll plug something into the formula. And you might start really general like this, or you might be getting very specific. To do your core mission statement or to understand it, You want to align your internal being, know your mission, your purpose, why you're on the planet, understand your values, your principles, your ethics, your moral principles, understand universal law. If you just focus on goals, if you don't align with these higher ideas, life just doesn't tend to work as well. When you focus on general ideas first, then generally your life tends to be really good, right? But I think a lot of people miss this when they just do a dream board with a bunch of $100 bills. Right? You can still be a real jerk and manifest $100 bills, but this is about you being an amazing person, a truly good-hearted person who knows why you're on the planet. So one way you can start doing this is you just write down a lot of keywords, things that you know are going to be true for you, like love, love for yourself and others, doing this with integrity, have fun. A mission statement, when I say core mission, is not just for a business. Core mission is for your life, right? Like, who are you as a person? How are you going to live your life on this planet? Right, so you can pull from some of the ideas here. And then number two here, tells you another way to think. So one is just write down good ideas. You don't have to write down a sentence yet, just things that would become part of a very long 1 or 2 sentences, usually just one big run-on sentence. So number two, you could just say, if you're not sure, say, well, love or hate. Okay, love. Service or selfishness. Service, meaningful or meaningless. So you can just do these dichotomies, these polar opposites, and it'll help you to get really clear pretty easy about general ideas of how you want your life to be, right? Peaceful or chaotic, integrity or dishonesty, divine guidance or egotistical motives, right? And then you can research others. Here's mine: to offer the world, and so I'll break it down as we talk about it. This hasn't changed, by the way, and you can see my life is a reflection of this, and I've been working with this one core mission statement since I was about 24 years old. I'm 47 now, and this stuff, once you tap into your soul about it, your real heart of hearts about who you are, it really never should change because it's who you are. So this is very much who I am: to offer the world, and not just my city or community. That's great for those who focus on that. But to me, I knew my vision is international, hence our International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists, and schools that are growing all around the country and eventually around the world. So to offer the world, through loving service, the wisdom and truths that I've discovered over the years, right? So that's what I'm doing right now, right? By leading these classes, by running the school, and all the bonus classes we're offering now in the school, all my books and all these recordings, and stuff I've been posting on YouTube that have been archived. I just launched on YouTube, by the way, Meditations on Higher Consciousness. You can just type in my name in that term, Meditations on Higher Consciousness. That's a 1-hour talk that was in our archives. It's on public now, and that has 4 different very deep meditations I'll get on YouTube probably during this next week. So anyway, you can see that the mission is what's happening. The wisdom and truths I've discovered over the years in a way that relieves the suffering of all beings and promotes health, wealth, and enlightenment to myself and my fellow man or woman, humans. So I'd encourage you to write your own, memorize it, read it. It becomes the first page in your Getting Organized binder, and you just look at it every day, right? And if you think about, the idea of karma, or just that our thoughts do create our own reality, that what you put out comes back to you, be sure that the core of your being is programmed. Like literally, you can put this stuff into hypnotic programming, and you program yourself to be this person. Again, not necessarily my mission statement, but come up with your own. And so it's a little bit about step 1 of the Life Mastery course, the Getting Organized process component of it, your core mission statement. Next, life principles. I'll just put them up here. There's 12 of them for me. These are the first 6. When I had finished all my postgraduate studies and I realized, wow, it's time to start my career, I went into the mountains in Colorado for some really intense meditation, some prayer, fasting. And I said, I'm not leaving here, again, fasting, meditating in the woods alone. I'm not going to move from this spot until I know exactly how to live my life, where to go, what to do, and how to do it. And I just kept waiting for Spirit to guide me for whatever I needed to know. One of the things that came through, which was really awe-inspiring because it's proven to be true and beneficial to this day, were to live by these life principles. Again, I encourage you to write your own. You can take what you like from me, but I'm not saying you must have the same principles I do. I'm comfortable with the word God. Obviously, I don't use it as much in these public type teachings. But everyone you'll see starts with I devote my life to. And again, we'll leave the God one since we're not a religion here. But let's look at number 2, truth. I devote my life to seeking the absolute truth. And it's, the spiritual seeker, the mystic inside of me, as well as speaking, thinking, and living the truth. My words shall be honest and based upon deep integrity. They shall be words that people can trust. What came to me when these principles came to me was kind of an inner message. It said, if you abide by these, you're not really going to suffer. Your life is going to be really nice. But every time you waver from this, you will suffer. And the one that really spoke to me about that is number 6, simplicity. Again, this kind of came to me from higher consciousness. It wasn't just, my ego mind coming up with these. And it was like, all right, Matthew, here's how you need to live your life. Devote your life to live simply and well below your means, in an attitude of peace, global consciousness, and charity, or philanthropy. I shall live simply so that others may benefit from what I have to give. Again, this is me coming up with this in deep meditation at 24 years old. And every time I wavered from that, or like my income goes up, so then my expenses go up, that's not a good way to live. Now that we're in lockdown for COVID, I've gone back to the simplest way of living and the simplest way of running my finances. And fortunately for the school, we're actually still doing quite well. So the income is still, nice, but I've lowered the expenses a lot. And that's a beautiful feeling to say, wow, there's plenty of money during difficult time. And that really comes from honoring the principle of simplicity. Some of my other ones, again, you don't have to pull from these, or you can, but I encourage you really to find your own. What's really important to you? Silence is actually very important to me. I spend a lot of time in silence and solitude. It's very important for my own personal spiritual path. Abstinence, abstaining from anything that would keep me from my life path or spiritual path. And then respect for all traditions and all beings. Humility, to be as humble as possible. And discipline. All right, what we're going to do is go back to the regular stop screen share. And let's open it up right now as far as we've come to Q&A. It's a good almost hour of introducing the process, starting to move through it. So let me hear from you. Questions, comments, ideas. Tell me how you've used this stuff before. Any questions about the core mission statement or the life principles, maybe how to set up the binder or the PowerPoint. So I'm going to give it a moment. See if we have any typing. If not, I'll just go back and keep moving through. Okay, I don't think I'm seeing any typing. All right, you guys are quiet, so we're gonna keep moving through. All right, so that is step 2 of the process. Your life principles, you might also call them your values, things that are really important to you. They're a little bit more specific than the core mission statement, right? The core mission statement is just one long sentence, but these are 12 longer sentences. So you're getting more clear about how you're going to structure your life. Again, much more important than your goals, like you start with these kind of things. Next, universal law. The best book that I've discovered on this is Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. So I would just highly recommend reading that. Another book that touches upon it, but it's a bit more in the esoteric realm, so not as easy to read, the Kabbalion Hermetic Philosophy book by 3 yogic initiates who chose to remain anonymous. And then over the years, I've found from different sources 21 different laws. Some, again, more important and practical than others. Let's review the first 7 that Deepak Chopra outlined so well. And what I do here in the book, by the way, the Life Mastery binder, the getting organized part of the binder, is I encourage my students, or what I do is I write out the name of the law, like here, number 1, the law of pure potentiality, and then I will write out a paragraph that explains it. And again, I read this every single day. Not now after 25 years, but in the beginning, for years, I would just literally look at this every single day. And it's so valuable. It's more valuable, I think most people realize, to align your mind with this. The law of pure potentiality states that when you're in a deep meditative state, you tap into this infinite organizing power that can pull anything into your life. So it really, when I look at this, it reminds me the importance of deep meditation for creating and manifesting. If I'm doing it from my regular waking consciousness, nowhere near as powerful. And this law basically says in that place, everything that manifests comes out of you, and it's just the most powerful place you can sit to do so. The law of giving and receiving says if you want something, give that away. If you want, like my mission statement, more health, wealth, and enlightenment. I want all three of those things, so I found ways in my life to give that away to others. So whatever you want, give it away. It doesn't mean just give away all your money, right? There's a lot of other things that you can give that are extremely valuable. I'm working on a new website right now for a lot of the deeper spiritual teachings, a lot of the archive stuff that I haven't made public now that I have all this extra time because of lockdown. So it's like all for free. It's just putting the stuff on a website to give it away and trusting that as I give it away, somehow there's a return on that type of investment. So give, give, give. Number 3, the law of cause and effect. To realize whatever you do send out does come back to you. So, I would like to think anybody listening to this recording or in this live class now, is a really good person who would never do anything unethical or that'll hurt others. But a lot of people could use this in a way that's not beneficial for themselves or others. So just to understand the idea of very simple understanding of karma, that what you send out does come back to you and it comes back multiplied. So it says here, send only goodness and trust that it will come back to you multiplied. The law of grace, that's not one of Chopra's 7, but it's worth, you can look at it on your own later, however you want to do it. The law of least effort is one of Chopra's. The idea here is very powerful. It says, in true creating and manifesting, or let me say it this way, true creating and manifesting happens with effortless ease, right? So I want those marshmallow peeps. All I do is think the thought and it appears. I want the dogs to stop barking. It's just a thought. I want more clients. It's just a thought. But it's a thought aligned with those 12 steps of the creating manifesting formula. So what we do in that formula and in this part of it, the getting organized part, we align our mind with the idea. We program in the law of least effort. True creating and manifesting happens with effortless ease. It doesn't mean, like I said, you won't work hard. But the manifesting part of the process is done in a deeply peaceful, relaxed, meditative state. Number 6 is one of Chopra's, the law of intention and desire. This says that if you intend to manifest something in your life and you want to, you truly want to, the universe has a way to make it happen, which is also saying when there's a will, there's a way. But if you don't believe that, your mind will get in your own way. But if you say, if I intend to manifest 7 lucrative income streams that run whether I'm working or not, whether there's a pandemic or not, and they happen all online. If you want to do that, if you intend to do it, the universe obviously has a way to make that happen. I say obviously because we have the internet now. The law of Dharma, that's one of Chopra's that's also super valuable to know. The law of Dharma, or the idea of Dharma, Dharma is your life purpose. It's your mission. It's what you're on earth to do. No one else can do your Dharma but you. You don't want to try to do someone else's Dharma well or poorly. You're just better off doing your Dharma, whether you do it poorly or well. It's like in the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu Bible. It says it's better to do your Dharma poorly than someone else's Dharma well. So you don't try to be your role model. You just learn from your role model. But really, any good role model, any good teacher would point to you to know who you are, right? And what you're meant to do in this planet. And by aligning yourself with your Dharma, success is actually relatively easy. I've tried throughout my earlier years in life to make money through other income streams that were not dharmic, that were not based on all my education and knowledge and the stuff that I meant to bring to the world, like real estate or commodity trading, multi-level marketing. None of that stuff worked. But as soon as I put whenever I put all my heart, energy, money, time, effort, money into my true career, which is very much hypnotherapy related and spiritual teaching related, it always works out well. So I encourage you to really focus on what is your dharma. Dharma is not just your career. Most people say, I need to know my dharma. And they're kind of asking, what is your job? Dharma is bigger than that. Dharma is that which is appropriate and harmonious for you in any context of your life, right? So when you look at your priorities, your spirituality, what's dharmic for you, right? If you're Christian and you really believe that and that's your faith, then that's your dharma, right? You shouldn't try to be a Hindu or a Buddhist, right? But if you're really truly Buddhist down to your core being, then it wouldn't be dharmic for you to try something else, right? Just stick with what really connects for you. Mental emotional health, as far as what's dharmic, it's not dharmic to think a lot of negative fear-based thoughts. It's not dharmic to beat yourself up with guilt. It's not dharmic to tell yourself that you're unlovable and incapable. There's a lot of thinking that's dharmic, not dharmic. So you can do that, the dharma check, if you will, for every life category, being sure what you're doing is harmonious and beneficial for you. Like it's dharmic right now for me to sit on the chair with my butt in the chair, now with my head in the chair, right? It would be adharmic to try to sit on my head. And so dharmic isn't just your job. It's knowing what is harmonious and appropriate in any context at any given moment. We can't cover all the laws here. Zipping through. Anyway, yeah, so there's 21 total listed here, and then Chopra has 7 that he mapped out, quite nice. The one we didn't cover from Chopra, which I didn't see there, is the law of detachment or non-attachment. What that says is that when you're doing this kind of work, you don't want to be attached to the, no one's just not here, huh? Maybe there's 22 laws I didn't map out. The law of, let's see real quick. You can see there's some skipping through as well, so hopefully it's helpful for you. Yeah, the other one that should definitely be up here, I'm really surprised I only noticed it now after so many years, the law of non-attachment, to learn to not be attached to the outcome in this kind of work. Let's spend some time looking at how to do your life categories prioritized. There's 3 steps here, and you can, if you're a hypnotherapist, you can do this with your clients. And by the way, as being empowered with this as a hypnotherapist, I would do 5-session protocols with clients. I say, you know, I'm going to help you to create an awesome life in every way possible. Like, yep, of course. And then it's a 5-session package that they end up purchasing. And I take them through the entire process over a period of weeks. So you can do that, of course, with your clients. So the first step in this, there's 3 steps. List all the life categories. Then number 2, you prioritize them. And then you subcategorize each category. So let's look at how that goes. For yourself or your clients, just list all of your life categories, not in any specific order. So relationships are important to people, right? Career and finances, one's physical health, recreation, free time, mental, emotional health, travel and vacation, spirituality, education, volunteer work, housing. That tends to cover most aspects of most people's lives. But those are not prioritized. And it's amazing, I've done this with many hundreds of people, how backwards people's priorities are. So that's the next step. And we'll look at the principles listed here before we go into it. Number 1, invest in yourself first. You are your highest priority. Seek the highest. So a little biblical quote there, seek ye first the kingdom, or, you know, the highest spirituality, and all things are added on to you. And then 3, make yourself a strong pillar. Don't rely on other members of society to support you. Be successful yourself, then help others to do the same. If you abide by those ideas, which is really all based on prioritize you, then the first 3 categories, which we talked about before, become easy to understand. For me, spirituality is the most important because that is not just religion at all. It's my direct connection to my source, to my higher consciousness. It is tapping in every day to peace, to joy, to love, to oneness, to inner guidance. Like everything everybody really ever wants to feel, I've learned to meditate on that and feel that and tap into it every single day, and honestly for hours, because it's the highest priority. Right? So how many hours a day do you spend doing spiritual practice? And how many do you meditate every morning and evening? Are you praying, you're doing yoga, you're reading spiritual books? To me, it's the highest priority, and I see people barely putting any time, energy, or money into it. You can invest in things by putting time, energy, or money into them. All right, so if you go to church once a week, okay, but when you start meditating morning and evening, and you start feeling the presence of spirit within your own being in meditation, you just want to meditate more. And the benefits that come from that are profound. If you're connected spiritually in that way, all the other categories fall into place. When you're not connected in that way, life just doesn't tend to be as good. Plus, no matter what's happening to the other categories, remember my whole idea of peace under all circumstances, because you found that peace inside of you, no matter what's happening with the circumstance of life, even if you couldn't manifest everything the way you want to, nobody can take away what you find inside spiritually. So I can go on, but that's certainly a very high priority, if not the highest. Mental, emotional health. Again, most people don't realize how important that is. If your mind isn't clear, if you're thinking thoughts that don't benefit you, if your heart is filled with hurt and sadness, fear, anger, guilt, regret, you're ruining your health, you're depressing yourself, causing anxiety and all sorts of issues. So again, and here what we'll do, we don't just acknowledge how important these things are. We, excuse me, we subcategorize them so that we can actually do things to be successful in these categories. Not just agreeing intellectually that these are important, but actually doing things to be sure we're successful in these. And again, when you look at these 10 categories, the life mastery idea is success in all of them, right? A self-actualized life. In spirituality, we talk about self-realization or God realization. And that's kind of like the highest you can get as a human. But that's not enough. Self-actualization is having success in all life categories, so that your current finances are doing well, your relationships are doing well, you have plenty of free time and recreation, everything here. Not just self-realization, but self-actualization. All life categories successful. So you have to write them out and look at them, to really consciously intend to be successful in all of these. And it's really good to have them prioritized so you can focus on the most important first. All right, so for me, again, spirituality, that'll get hours of attention every day. Mental, emotional health, I usually spend a good hour or so doing hypnosis every day, at least a half hour, but quite often I'll repeat the recording. So, and then, you get therapy, but we'll talk about the subcategories in a moment. Your physical health, again, pretty much every day, you're exercising, you're eating impeccably well, you're getting adequate rest, the health care that you might need. Your career and finances, we can talk about a bit more. Relationships, like I said, just mostly all relationships are loving and harmonious, but you might very specifically want your significant other, family, and friendships, and then you manifest those. Your free time, recreation, education, housing. Right, so also transportation, housing and transportation, right? Having the home you want, having the car you want, why not? All right, so to get successful in those, what you do is you have them prioritized, and these are the subcategories. And again, take what you like, leave what you don't. But I encourage you to put these bullet points underneath each category of what you're going to do to be sure you're successful in these aspects. So this is for me, but I also knew when I was doing all this that it would be for others as well to look at. So things you could do: meditate, pray, services, like spiritual group meditations or, church, temple, those kind of things, whatever kind of community you can find, service to others, and the study of sacred texts and spiritual writings, or anything else you put in there. But the idea is, now that you've agreed, if you agree that this is such a high priority, you start putting more time, energy, and or money into a category that becomes more and more important. Mental, emotional health, again, if you agree it's super important, then go get some good hypnotherapy sessions. You can do hypnotic programming, especially our students should be programming themselves every day because they have those skill sets. Subliminal programming, I have products online for that. And we use them throughout the school's training in different ways. Then, of course, we have this process, the getting organized process, to me is a mental, emotional process, and the creating and manifesting formula to do that. And we'll do that meditation before I close tonight. The creating manifesting formula, again, 7 to 14 minutes, depending on how long you do it. To do that like twice a day. And you plug whatever you want into the formula, into that brief meditation. But ideally, you're plugging all of this into the formula, not just one specific thing. And then just whatever forms of personal development. Your physical health, things like proper nutrition, regular exercise, your body image, right? It's not really self-actualization if your body is really not where you want it to be. Adequate rest, visit to healthcare providers as needed. But really, energetic, healthy, really good shape, like to me, that's definitely part of a life mastery idea. Flexible, strong, good balance, all the stuff you get from like yoga, really good fitness routines. And then maybe cleaning up the diet. I'm vegetarian, I'm pretty close to vegan. I'm not 100% vegan, but like to me, it wouldn't be life mastery if I was eating in a way that wasn't dharmic or harmonious for me. Here's some number 4, career and financial ideas. Developing financial intelligence. If you're concerned that you're not making enough money, it's a really bad economy right now, it's a recession, whatever. The idea that the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class just struggle in debt. So studying the really great success writings like Napoleon Hill's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon. There's a lot of really good books. A lot of them are audiobooks on YouTube for free. Study that stuff, listen to it, fill your head with it. Not just feel like I'm a victim, to the current situation, but no, I manifest, here's your next line, multiple prosperous income streams, right? And I encourage you to have 7 sources of income that even if one source dries out, you still have 6 others nourishing you, and then you know how to create income streams. But that is a process. It's not just, you get one job and work for somebody else. It's very much an entrepreneur mindset. But again, we're talking life mastery. And when you get really good at developing these multiple income streams, you really don't have to work. Honestly, it might not seem like it, but I'm semi-retired. 47, I semi-retired at 41. I haven't worked full time since I was 41 years old. I spent, not now because of COVID, but I spent a lot of time paragliding and hiking and kayaking and going on amazing adventures. My life is awesome, and I don't work as much as people think because I actually honestly have 21, not just 7, 21 different income streams that make me money whether I'm working or not. Just like wake up and there's money comes into the accounts. Not here talking about me, but to encourage you, if you have the idea and you plug that kind of idea into these formulas, you can make that a reality. Anybody can, they just don't even start with the idea, and they don't have the tools to help to make it a reality. And I'm like giving you all these tools right now. Creating assets, limiting liabilities. That teaching comes very much from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Highly recommended that you get into that material to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. He makes a very clear point that most people just don't understand that difference. Really healthy bank statements, a diversified investment portfolio, a plan to eliminate debt, healthy business relationships. So again, the subcategories of each major category are things you can do, not just ideas, right? But create a very solid, diversified investment portfolio, right? Study the financial prosperity literature, start creating other income streams. Again, just ideas. When we go back to the chat pod, feel free to ask me questions about all this. Number 5, your relationships. We've covered those major steps, significant other, family, friends. Free time, recreation, right? So write down all the stuff that you love to do. And, here's a little tip. If you're really working towards like an early retirement, a semi-retirement, I don't know if I ever retired because I'm doing my mission, but I love not having to work very much, honestly. And when you have an enormous amount of free time because you manifested it, you need to actually know how to fill it. It's actually a problem. If you have nothing to do for an entire week, it's like, wow, I don't have to teach again for a week. I can do anything I want today. It's really nice to have a list of things to do, or you can kind of get depressed. So those of you who are, doing stay-home order, you're stuck at home now, you don't have a whole lot to do. It's a good practice to actually learn how to fill your time with super enriching activities that you don't have to be forced to do, but that you're choosing to do. And then your home and your transportation, right? So do you have the home or homes that you want? Do you have the vehicles that you want? Right, not necessarily just one car, but lots of fun, different types of vehicles or places to live. Again, it's your life. Continuing education, volunteer work, and travel vacation. And again, these things might change in their order of priority depending on depending on you. I'm going to keep going through, give you the whole overview, hopefully enough to actually get started on this tonight if you want to. And then we'll go into meditation. So once you're pretty clear in all those steps, then you want to start to consider your long-term goals. Yet I like the idea of long-term vision. Vision isn't necessarily a goal. It's a picture of what your life can look like. You want a good time frame when you do this kind of work. So this is 5 to 10 years or more, but pushed out into basically retirement ideas or semi-retirement ideas. Right? So you say, all right, let's just say you're 30 years old, and where are you going to be at when you're 40? Right? How much money will you have saved? How many homes will you have? What kind of relationships you're going to have? Now, not all those specifics always manifest or always last, but if you're not moving towards the kind of stuff that you would love in your life, then most likely you're moving towards something else. So you get clear on the big vision and you do it. So here's some ideas of how to set goals. You do it based on every one of those categories. And this is where it becomes quite a homework assignment. Right? What would it look like in 10 years for your spirituality? What would it look like for your mental emotional health? And you can be very general in this long-term vision. What's your physical health going to be like? You know, a lot of people are programmed that as you get older, you're going to get less healthy and in worse shape, and you're going to struggle with your body weight. And it doesn't have to be that way because your mind is so powerful. And of course, your lifestyle is going to seriously influence where you'll be in 10 years. So as an example for physical health, to be at your ideal body weight, even 10, 20, 30 years from now, to be healthy and in great shape, eating a holistic, organic, vegetarian diet, not saying you have to, just hint, hint, to be energetic, strong, flexible, healthy, and retain excellent balance, and have ample time for an abundance of rest and play. Your career and finances, these are just aren't specific numbers, but for me, but just to give you an idea of what you could put in. To be financially free and get clear. What does that mean? What does true financial freedom mean? With a net worth of $10 million or more, to have 12 or more different income streams that run whether you're working or not, have a very well diversified investment portfolio, to be able to tithe, meaning to give away in a philanthropic way 10% or more of your income, to be totally debt free. And again, it's up to you what you put there, but I'm encouraging you to put stuff there, right? So, what would life be like? Your relationships, your free time recreation, your home, your housing, your transportation. Again, what is life going to look like in 10 years? This becomes the bigger vision. And then we go to the mid-range vision, 3 to 5 years. So here, in some sense, you're kind of dividing that in half. Maybe not quite, but it's to imagine in 3 or 5 years, if you want that bigger vision, where do you need to be? And we'll look at the ones that are a bit more measurable. So, but you do it for every category: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health, same basic thing. But here, like career and finances, instead of 10 million at that point, maybe it's just 5 million. Not too bad, right? 6 different income streams instead of maybe 21. Well-diversified investments, tithing, maybe not quite as much. And again, the goal to be totally debt-free. So the career and finance is easy to measure, but you do it from every category. In 3 to 5 years, where are you going to be for your home or your transportation? What vacations will you have done? What travel will you have done in that time? But then to move towards that, we do the short-term vision, short-term goals, 1 to 3 years or less, but not just, again, like a person drowning in the ocean, moving towards that next step. You're looking at the lighthouse, which is your long-term vision. And then you're moving towards a mid-range vision, and the short-term vision moves you to that, right? And I can't emphasize that enough, that whatever you're doing short-term has to move you towards a long-term vision. So here you might get a bit more specific. You begin a meditation practice, you find a good spiritual teacher, you start reading spiritual books, You can do hypnotic programming once a day to program all this kind of stuff in your mind. You can use this process, getting organized, creative manifesting every day. Start exercising, changing your diet, doing yoga, right? So it becomes more specific, but really it is moving you towards a long-term vision, which again can't be emphasized enough. Right? Start getting your income up to move towards those higher numbers. Maybe start doing a little bit more philanthropy, really working to pay down the debts, and manifesting the life mates, spending more time resting, playing, enjoying your life. Maybe making your current home better, even if you don't own a home right now and you want to, right? Just make the current home you're living in like a sanctuary that you love. Cleaning your house, by the way, with this kind of work is so valuable because you want your mind super clear with this kind of stuff. And a messy home is a reflection of a messy mind, hint, hint, for some of you maybe. So you do this for every category as well for the short term. And then your to-do list. So this is where you're going to have, I got mine right here. I always have one each day. It's just one, and I have a big piece of paper right there because I started a new bigger project last night. But really, I usually just write down what I have, 1, 2, 3, 4 things on my to-do list, that's all. But those 4 things, 4 or 5 things, are things I have to do to move me to my short-term goals, which are always aligned with my mid-range and long-term goals. So I'm never just acting arbitrarily. I'm always focused on reaching my bigger goals. And then, of course, the to-do list will have stuff that just needs to get done. Like in here it says, let's see if I can read anything to you. I had to work on marketing today, adjusting our pay-per-click marketing, launching the June 2020 class for our school, and writing my blog article I do every Monday. So I did that. You know, it was like first thing. And if I write it down, by the way, one of the principles is if you write it down in the getting organized process, and excuse me, and especially if you write it down in the in a to-do list, you must do it. All right, so if I tell a student, all right, I'm gonna do something for you, I will put in my to-do list, it has to be done. That's part of the integrity or being impeccable with your word. Then it says work out. I wrote that down, no matter how I felt, no matter what, unless, you know, it was really not healthy for me. So I worked out, did it, check. I had to go to the grocery and the post office today, so that was on there and done. And then teach at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's what's happening right now. So I can check that off right now. So basically, it's stuff that moves towards a bigger goal. And there's other stuff in this list for the new project I'm starting. So yeah, just write it down, hold yourself accountable, do it. And they'll make the to-do list so big and crazy that nothing gets done. Just measurable, like realistic things you can do every day. And even if you just do one good thing every day that moves you towards your goals, then you're moving ahead. Beyond the to-do list, a day timer, a daily planner, using your calendar like Microsoft Outlook or whatever, because some things you need to just schedule and be sure that they happen. So if you say, all right, I got to build a new website to start my hypnotherapy practice, carve out time for it. It's in your short-term goal, right? It's on your to-do list. And now you're going to put it in your day timer and be sure you do it in those exact times. Let me see. I see some stuff in the chat pod. Let's go back to that for a moment. We're almost done with this component. All right, so question and answer time. Go ahead, you guys, and I'll read what's here now. I'm sorry I'm trying to pronounce the name. I won't say names anyway. So someone said, I'm very glad I signed up for hypnotherapy through this school. Me too. My amazing life is about to get a brighter sunrise. Beautiful. You know, like some of you, you know, like really may not be very good. And then I'm honored to give you these teachings. And some of you, your life is already awesome, but why not make it even better? So anybody can benefit from this stuff. And some of you might be doing some of this already. So you just take what you like and leave what you don't. So thank you. That's great. And you said, thank you for that with all the time and effort you have put in. Truly, your life. Thank you. It's beautiful. Hi, Sarah. Sarah Long. Sarah said, just now remembered it was Monday night. Better late than never. Glad you're here, Sarah, as always. Hi, Sarah. Then it says, the to-do list reminds me of fractals of the sort, short, mid, and long term. Yeah, right on. So fractal geometry, the idea that you zoom into any one spot, but you see the whole. Right, so when I zoom into working out, that's part of my big vision that when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, I'm still gonna be in the best possible shape I can be in. It's not just I do it now because that's the next thing to do. I'm doing it based on a big vision. So right on, fractal geometry in that way. And someone said, Matthew, did you say we are getting this in school at no cost? Yes. Well, I mean, the school costs, but yeah, in our advanced hypnotism section, you get the entire life mastery course. It's actually an entire course. Like we have fundamentals 101, 102, 103. Somewhere, I think it's like AH 204 or something, 207 in our school. You have the entire life mastery course, the getting organized process, and then creating a manifesting formula. Then you have a whole nother course on manifesting prosperity. So yeah, current students who have access to our second section of training, advanced hypnotism, have access to this, anytime. And yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so no charge for our current students to access this in the school's online materials. All right, any other questions you're sharing? And then I'll go back, I'll finish up the screen share, and then I'll take you on a meditation for you doing this generally for your life, or maybe specifically for your life. Okay, Sarah said, I've written your name on every Monday on all calendars now, Matthew. A to-do list and calendar are important. Thank you, Sarah. We love you, Sarah. All right, let's do screen share again. Let's finish up this component of things. All right, so you got your day timer. Now let's talk about the collage, because a lot of people are getting into that more and more. Your collage is you can do this on, cut out pictures from magazines, but now that we have the internet, you can just go to Google Images and you type in pictures for what you want. You like put in dream home, and find like the exact home that you want, and you put it in your collage. Or the car that you want, put in the collage. Or the kind of relationship you want, your body image, picture of people doing yoga or really healthy food, or picture of somebody in meditation. You take all those pictures, and one way or another, you'll put it on a big poster board and look at it every day. Or I'll just keep it in my PowerPoint presentations the way I do it now. And then I have all these great pictures, like just everything that I want in my life. The pictures are, see, again, I said earlier, some people do this thinking that's all you have to do. Visualizing what you want is only part of the formula for success. So I'll go back to the creating manifesting process in a moment so you can see those 12 steps and why visualization is important, but not as the only thing you do to succeed in your life. So you cut out pictures of what you want. I've heard the term collecting, which is nice. My home here in the California mountains, I want to redo the exterior. And so I drive around looking at homes that I like. And I'm like, I like the colors. I like the way they did the wood on that home, whatever. And then, as soon as I decide, like, that's what I want, then I'll take pictures of it. I'll put it in my collage, and I'll keep focusing on it until I manifest it. But I hold myself accountable. If you put something in this formula, you must make it a reality. Okay, and then additional categories. So having a really clear budget, I just do that in separate spreadsheets, but I have a super clear many budgets I use to run my businesses as well as my own personal finances. So very clear sections on like your QuickBooks or however you manage all your finances. Life mastery means that stuff is impeccable. It's okay to carry some debt. Everybody does in some way, but you have a clear plan on how to get out of it. You're not just ignoring all the credit card debt. Different projects you're working on can be their own categories in the binder or the PowerPoint. Each income stream that you choose to design. And I'll tell you a little tip on income streams. The idea is sales funnels. You can go to YouTube. There's a lot of people know about this now. Sales funnels. Once you understand how to make a sales funnel, which you capture a whole bunch of leads, like you're fishing, you cast your net, 10,000 people see your ad or whatever, then X number of those people will click on that ad. The next number of people will actually take action and buy. And you're moving people through a funnel. Our hypnotherapy school is absolutely a funnel. It casts a net, kind of like we're doing now. Some people, not everybody, of course, but some people are interested. They sign up for the training. They start going through the funnel of the school. What you don't realize is it's so much more wonderful than just hypnotherapy training. So I kind of have a goal of what happens for our students as they move through. And part of that goal is to pace and lead you into the idea of life mastery. But anyway, it's all a funnel. And as soon as I get you in my funnel, I can guide you towards ideally, what's best for you, offering you teachings that can be of service to you in ways you may not have even imagined before. And this is one of those ways. So, again, always doing funnels are always for the customer's best interests, never just for your own, right? So always altruistic, philanthropic, giving, 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 and making it beneficial for everybody involved. And then very clear investments. And, by the way, if you guys haven't done it yet, during the time of recession, this is the time to be investing. And during the time like this is actually the time to be advertising. So here's a prosperity principle. During times of emergency, promote, and during times of prosperity, save. All right, so when things get crazy like they are now, most people just, save, save, save. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, you got to make your own decisions, but during times like this, it's actually a really good time to invest, to actually be saving, and it's actually a good time to be promoting. COVID's, a little, very different. So we did cut back a bit on the school's advertising budget. But honestly, I was talking with Monica, our admissions person, and we decided, no, let's just go full force back in advertising again. And that is honoring the idea during times of emergency. Excuse me. And the school, by the way, is not at all in a place of emergency, but the country, the world is. So during times of emergency, actually promote, get yourself out there. But more specifically, you can make a lot of money investing right now. So in case you're not, just an idea to share. Let's look at the creating manifesting formula again before we do it. And I'll do it with these paragraphs. I just want you to see the headings though. Clarity of intent. You have to know what you're putting into the formula or how you're going to get it, right? So clarity of intent is general, right? Everything you want for this rockin' awesome self-actualized life. Or specifically, you just want to get some more clients, or you just got to make some more money right now or something. Then just know what you want and plug it into the formula, and we'll do a meditation very soon tonight. The idea here, follow your bliss, trust your joy. Don't put anything into the formula, obviously, that wouldn't make you and others happy, right? Everyone involved has to be made better off, or you're just going to be hurting yourself. We'll align you with universal law when we start the meditation. And then number 3, we'll actually go into deep meditation, aligning you with the law of pure potentiality, that when you're in deep meditation, you're tapping into the source that manifests everything that is. And even if, you don't fully believe that, the stuff just so for me, it doesn't matter if you buy into this because of metaphysics or physics or whatever convinces you to do this. It's just going to increase the probability of success in your life. But for me, deep meditation, and then, I told you a few of hundreds of stories. In fact, I'm doing this stuff every day. It's not like, oh, occasionally I manifest something. You're constantly manifesting. I'm constantly manifesting. You just now realize you're doing it consciously. You're doing it deliberately. It's a conscious, voluntary process to make your life awesome. And again, deep meditation is the way to make it happen so much faster and easier. Once we're in that state, number 4, visualization. Again, this relates to your collage. If you can't picture what you want, you're not as powerful. With the subconscious mind, it responds more to visual imagery and emotion, hence number 4 and 5 there, more than suggestion. If I say, you make a lot of money, you make a lot of money, that doesn't really do anything. But if I can get pictures in your mind of the beautiful new home and the awesome cars and the beautiful adventures you go on, and you're getting number 5 all emotionally excited about that, that's how to get your subconscious motivated, involved. Those are good words, but mobilized is the word I was looking for. You're mobilizing your inner resources when you visualize it and you feel it, not just think it. This is why we'll talk about it in a moment. Number 6, suggestions or affirmations really tend to not work for a lot of people. So you want to be able to picture it, and some principles on picturing it. See it as if it's already so. This should be written down here somewhere. But anyway, when you go through this specific training in our school or through the online products, you'll definitely hear me say, see it as if it's already so. Anyone involved in the picture is there. So if it's you and your family, they should be in the picture. and then you want to see everybody happy and better off. Number 5, powerful positive emotion. Even if you feel like you got to fake it a bit, it needs to feel good. You do not want to be doing this from desperation or fear. If you're in a desperate place right now, go meditate, do whatever you do, but get clear. Don't manifest through desperation, or that energy will become part of your life. And this stuff is creating your future, so you become very conscious of how you think and how you feel once you realize you are this powerful. Number 6, suggestion. People tend to not succeed using only affirmations because all you hear is stuff like, I am a multimillionaire, I am a multimillionaire, multimillionaire. And then, 10 years later, are you? No. Why? Well, affirmations don't work well because when you're lying to yourself. If you're really overweight and you keep saying, I am my ideal body weight, I am fit and trim and toned and healthy, fit and trimmed and toned and healthy, and 5 years later, you're still not. Because just affirmations don't work. And again, affirmations affirm something that's already there, right? So if you have a beautiful home, you say, I'm grateful for my beautiful home. Well, it's already there. So an affirmation works to keep it in your life. The better way to use your mind for this stuff is actually the power of suggestion. Suggestions can be incremental. Things like, every day in every way, I'm making more and more money. Every day in every way, I'm getting more and more healthy. That helps to move you in the right direction. And in our school, as fundamentals of hypnotism training, we teach you all about how to write proper suggestions that the subconscious mind can run with that will work. It's not that the power of your mind isn't the case. This teaching is all about your power of the mind is absolutely the case here. Now, your mind is extremely powerful, but you have to know how to use it. And, I think a lot of hypnotherapy and NLP training is simply teaching you how to use your mind. It's not that you don't believe you're powerful. It's just nobody necessarily tell you how to structure your mind in this way, teaching you actually how to think. So just pure affirmations, not very helpful, but you plug everything into this formula, extremely helpful. Number 7, this is where you'll affirm, I totally believe this is possible. And then you repeat it 3 times at least to convince yourself, of course this is possible. Number 8, desire. I really want this. I do want this. I do want it. The universe doesn't go, contrary to popular opinion, the universe does not go against your free will. All right, if you really don't want it, most of the deep teachings say it'll just be removed from your life. And if you really want it, it'll come into your life. In the end, you get what you want. And you don't have to fully believe that, yet when you're doing this formula, if you really want something, you do need to affirm, I do really want it. I do want this. Again, not as a statement of lack, but as if I said, here, I'm going to give you $10,000. You'd be like, yeah, I want that. It's not that you lack it, whether you have it or not. It's just, sure, I'll take that. I want it. Okay, but not lack affirming you don't have it. Number 9, acceptance. There's always a responsibility for manifesting something. So you affirm, I'm fully willing to accept this and all of the responsibility that it brings. Number 10, you expect it. You just know it's going to happen. And that statement is, I expect this to manifest. I know it is happening. It is inevitable. I expect this. I know it's happening. It is inevitable. To me, number 10 is a feeling inside that clicks. And you're just like, oh yeah, this is absolutely happening. There's no doubt. You want to get there. Number 10 is when it's just going to happen. Like when I say, yeah, I'll help you to sell that property in 2 weeks. I'll help you to be pregnant in 2 months. Whatever it is, like you just know it's going to happen. And you kind of trick yourself in some way. You just keep repeating it until like, yep, of course it's going to happen. In some ways, the whole formula kind of tricks you into like, oh yeah, that's my reality. But really it's just 12 steps that align your mind to seriously increasing the probability of it manifesting. Number 11, commitment. It says, I'm committed to manifesting this, and I do what I need to do to succeed. You can't just sit around visualizing and hoping it's going to happen. Like if you want more clients, you get out there and you advertise, right? You do public lectures. You go to business networking groups. You don't just sit and meditate on the cushion and build a website, meditate, and wonder why you don't have clients. You have to run your business the way any successful person would, and that's a huge way to increase the probability of success. You take the action that successful people take, but you also align your mind with the other steps. In our school, when I teach you guys advertising and marketing, business and practice management, it's a 20-hour course that teaches you to succeed as a hypnotherapist. And when I teach you the marketing part, we have a whole thing called psychic advertising. And I would say 50% of your success are utilizing these kind of formulas to get your mind in the right place to help to ensure the success. Not just taking action, because I'll teach you, all the steps to manifest a successful hypnotherapy practice. Like some of our more successful graduates make over $100,000 per year. They're in beautiful homes, they're driving luxury cars, they're traveling and having an awesome life. I want that for every student who wants that, and we give you the tools to do it. We can't guarantee you're going to do it, but one of the real skill sets to make it happen, honestly, is this life mastery course, getting your mind in the right place. Because if you're a hypnotherapist and you're not utilizing the power of your mind, it's kind of hypocritical, right? And then number 12, surrender. Again, we release attachment to the outcome. You visualize everything you were manifesting floating out into the universe, like as balloons or bubbles floating away. And because a lot of what we manifest has to do with other people, it's really helpful to remember minds are joined. Our minds are all interconnected. So when I want more students or clients or whatever in my life, I know I'm sending this out to another person or people who are going to respond to what I'm sending out. So it's not just letting it float out into empty space. Quite often you're like letting it go to enter into the minds of the people or the beings, like making the dog stop barking. I send out that message into the universe and they pick it up. And if you believe minds are joined, then of course they pick it up. All right, we stopped sharing. Let's go back to, yeah, some of you are using the Q&A. Let's just use the chat pod. Questions you're sharing, and then I'll take you on a closing meditation. It'll take less than 10 minutes for creating and manifesting whatever you like in your life. Sit up a little and get better centered on the camera there. Okay. All right, I don't see any typing, so I'm gonna leave the camera on. I'm gonna close my eyes and guide anybody who's still here through this process. So first, you want to, and you're welcome to close your eyes at any time, you want to think about what are you going to manifest, which is clarity of intent, right? How do you know what you really want? So be sure it's something that feels joyful, blissful. You'll be so happy to see it in your life. And you might want to be more specific right now. Eventually, you start utilizing this entire formula that we're going to go on now, as well as hypnotic programming and even neurolinguistic programming. You can just keep going through all of these mental exercises for manifesting your whole life big vision. But for now, probably best to do something specific. So I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to think about something as well, and I'll be doing it with you. Okay, good. I got it. I'm working on my new project here. So step one, eyes are closed, clarity of intent. Just affirm in your mind that which you want to manifest in your life. Get very clear in what it is. So if I were able to ask you now, and you were to answer, I would know exactly what you want, as if you're explaining it to someone else. Step two, universal law. As you're starting to relax with eyes closed, simply just listen and we'll align your mind with universal law. The law of pure potentiality states that when you move into a deep meditative space, you tap into an infinite organizing power that can manifest anything into your life. So start to do what you do that helps you to find that inner place of meditation in your own way for now. Number two, the law of intention and desire. If you intend to manifest something in your life, the universe has a way to make it happen. Number three, the law of least effort. True creating and manifesting happens with effortless ease. Relax into this. Just let it be simple and easy. The law of giving and receiving. Whatever you truly want, give it away. Find ways to give, and you'll find it keeps coming back to you. 5, the law of karma, or cause and effect. Whatever you put into the formula, know that it will come back to you, and it'll come back to you amplified. So only put that which is good and harmonious for you and others. The law of non-attachment. You'll release attachment to the outcome. You'll simply go through this process and then repeat a meditation like this twice a day, morning and evening, until that which you're manifesting appears. And the law of dharma. To do only what's dharmic or harmonious or appropriate for you. And of course, for anybody else in your life. Now, number 3, deep meditation. With your eyes closed, simply relax your body and let's let go of the external world. Everything outside of your skin, just vibrating energy, right? Just atoms manifesting into form. You're the one who controls that. So just let it go for now. It's doing its thing on its own. But you're going to start to influence that field of energy. So let everything outside of your body go. Simply relax your body right here now. Coming into your breath. Releasing the past. For now, forgetting about the future. Just breathe. Letting your emotions settle down. If you're feeling anything, just let your heart and your belly relax. And letting your mind settle down. And start to direct your attention in and up. Focus above your 2 physical eyes. Behind your forehead. Between your ears. You're moving in and up. Find the space inside where you're aware, where you're conscious. Be aware that you're aware. You're focusing on what's called the I am presence. Simply, I am. Not I am doing, just I am being. Not I am a body, just I am. Not I am an emotion, just I am. And not even mind, just I am. Go deeper into that. You'll know you're there because it's very peaceful. It's quiet. It's still. This is the pure potentiality. It's the Purush, the consciousness, and Prakriti, the energy of the universe, is in service of Purush. So go up into your very own self. Deep meditation is to move into the knower, the observer, the witness, you might say the seat of your soul. For those of you who know the chakras, it's up in the 6th, 7th chakra region. Way in and way up. If you're ever doing this as a recording, if you need more time, just press pause. Step 4, visualization. In this space of pure awareness, you start to hold the vision of that which you want to see in your life. See it. This is your goal. This is what you're manifesting now. See it as if it's already so. Anyone else involved is in the image with you. And everyone is happy and made better off. Take your time to visualize it as if it's already so. It's not becoming in your visualization. It already exists. See it as if it's already so. Anyone else involved is in the image with you. And anyone else involved is happy and made better off. Step 5, emotionalize it. If it's truly something you want, it should feel good. So trust your joy, follow your bliss, amplify the positive feelings. Breathe and let yourself see it and feel how good it feels. Let it make you happy inside. Let it make you joyful to think about this in your life. Again, trust your joy, follow your bliss. See it, feel it. And then step 6, suggestion. Affirm it in your mind. Use the power of your thoughts. And eventually you'll have very clear goals set. But for now, see it, feel it, and think of what it is. Affirm, this is mine. As if you're describing to someone else, I have this. It's mine by this date. Do the best you can to see it, feel it, and use your thoughts as I'm silent for a moment. Now, step 7, the power of belief. Affirm in your mind. I totally believe that this is possible. I totally believe this is possible. I totally believe that this is possible. Step 8, desire. I want this. I want this in my life. I want this in my life. Step 9, acceptance. I am willing to accept this in my life and all of the responsibility that goes with it. I am willing to accept this in my life. I am willing to accept this in my life and all of the responsibility that goes with it. Step 10, all right? Step 10, expectation. I expect this. I know this manifests. It is inevitable. I expect this. I know this manifests. It is inevitable. I expect this. I know it manifests. It is inevitable. Step 11, commitment. I am committed to this goal. I do what I need to do to make it happen, which means you take action as necessary. I am committed to this. I do what I need to do to make it my reality. I am committed to this. I do what I need to do to succeed. And step 12, surrender and let it go. Just relax. Let the thoughts float away like balloons or bubbles out into the universe. You trust the universe to take care of the details. You'll remember to repeat this type of meditation morning and evening, and that's it. Just 5-10 minutes morning, 5-10 minutes evening, until this becomes your reality. Not only once, you repeat the creating and manifesting meditation, perhaps just twice a day, every day until this becomes your reality. You remember to align your mind with these 12 steps, and you'll find that anything you put into this formula, once all 12 steps are aligned, does become your reality. Now you can just take a breath and let it all go. Just relax, coming back to your breath, back to your body. Just to help transition, I'll count from 1 to 5. On the number 5, your eyes will open. And we'll start to wrap up the class with a little question answer time or sharing. Number 1, coming back more to the present. 2, remember to repeat this type of meditation on a daily basis. 3, you have full memory of everything you just did here. 4, when you're ready, and only when you're ready. And number 5, let your eyes open back right here now. And we will check in and see where we go from there. All right, so towards the end of class time, but let's open to Q&A. All right, someone said amazing, thank you. All right, so I've been refining doing this stuff again since I was in my early 20s. I started learning about it like probably around 22. Really kind of developed the Life Mastery course probably around the 24, 25, and not much has changed. Like the principles just work. Again, there's thousands of stories to tell about how it's worked. If we have more time, of course, I'm sure you guys have your own. We probably can't go into that tonight. Let me just say before we start to do question answer, but we're towards the end of time, We'll be here again next week. The topic, oh, I did this last time. What's the topic? It'll come back to me before I wrap it up. We do have class next week again on a similar type of theme, helping to empower everybody towards success in different aspects of their life. It'll come back to me. I'm also working on my books. The Sacred Geometry and Meditation and the Anahat Meditation System are a meditation system that came to me through me. It's not something I invented myself. It's extremely powerful. It's a huge part of my life. And now that I have all this extra time with our lockdown, I'm really starting to do that stuff again. So keep an eye out. Probably in a few weeks, we'll start classes. I think they'll be Wednesday night. It's going to be a 4-month meditation training course, and some of the most powerful meditations you can tap into. The stuff is off the charts. Awesome. I don't know any other way to say it. It's a big project, but I'm getting very close to relaunching all that stuff. So keep an eye out for emails and announcements. I think a lot of you who are here will really appreciate that. So I won't say much more now because loose lips sink ships. But as soon as that's more solid, I'll be releasing it. Awesome. Any questions or comments, anything at all about life mastery work before we wrap it up for tonight? If you are new to all this with us, our next hypnotherapy training begins June 24th, the April class. There might still be a seat or two, but we pretty much have moved on to promoting the June class. All right, I think we're good. I'm going to stop recording. I wish everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed and get a lot out of the life mastery topic. And I don't remember the class for next week, but keep an eye out for newsletters and on social media. And I will be here next Monday at 7 p.m.